Talks in Geneva aimed at bringing together the warring Syrian factions are happening after all. After several days of delay, the talks opened with a meeting between the UN's Syria envoy and a delegation from the Syrian regime. The main opposition faction based in Riyadh had been refusing to attend until various humanitarian demands were met. But it's now changed its mind and says it will send representatives to Geneva, from where Simon McGregor-Wood reports.
The Syrian government delegation finally arrived on Friday afternoon. It was led by Bashar al-Jafari, Syria's ambassador to the UN in New York. Given the uncertainty about when these talks might start and who might show up, the UN Special Envoy was keen to show that at least one delegation had made it and claimed the process was underway. The Syrian government delegation left without comment and left the UN Special Envoy to urge the opposition to join the process too.
I have good reasons to believe that they are actually considering this very seriously, and therefore to be in a position on probably Sunday to actually start the discussions with them and in order to be able to proceed with the intra-Syrian talks. I was considering Monday as an important day to reassess the situation, but my feeling is, I may be wrong, that in fact their discussion, internal discussion, is leading towards accepting our suggestion. The best way to actually discuss the implementation of important signals towards the population of Syria is to come to Geneva.
As he spoke in Riyadh, the main opposition faction finally confirmed they will now send a small delegation to Geneva, but insist that initial discussions will focus exclusively on easing the humanitarian suffering and not on the big political issues.
We're going to start discussing with the UN about our two important files, humanitarians and the political detainees. This is what's important for us. So we're preparing the files. The team is coming tomorrow, and you're going to hear all the details later.
On the battlefield, the tide of war has turned against the opposition. The Syrian army, backed by its Russian allies, is gaining ground. President Assad's future looks more secure than it did, and even the US now suggests he may have a role in Syria's transition. The opposition delegation, as and when it gets here, will be reluctant participants in a process they are deeply skeptical of. They will find a Syrian government backed by their Russian and Iranian allies, which is increasingly confident and which will be reluctant to make concessions. Simon McGregor-Wood, TRT World, Geneva.